Hello and welcome to Good or Bad. Yes, I wear glasses now, and I'm sure you're all expecting an elaborate reason as to why I need them, such as, I saw a movie that was so bad it made me nearly go blind, or I saw someone naked for the first time. Actually, forget that one. But no, the crushing reality of the situation is, my eyesight just got worse. I know, such a tragedy. I will of course be accepting donations. But never mind that for now. It's about time that I talk about one of the classic monster movies. And I'm not going to keep this one to myself. Oh, no. I'm going to invite the biggest Godzilla nerd of all time to come and talk about this classic.
I'm not doing it.
What? But you love this movie. It's one of the classics.
Oh, you think the movie you have there is the 1954 classic? No, my friend.
You're right. This one's in colour. Ah well, people say the 2014 version's really good as well.
Turn the titles on.
Okay.
Now you're getting it. Well, I'll be off now.
You are not going anywhere. I am not doing this alone.
Wait. Let me out. Let me out!
Look, I know a lot of people hate this movie, but can it really be that bad?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, maybe a second viewing might be better.
I've seen this movie about 784 times, and there's nothing good about it. It's a piece of shit.
Well, guess what? You're gonna watch it again, and we are going to find something good about this movie.
There's nothing good about this movie. Nothing. You hear me? Nothing!
This version of Godzilla...
No, we are not calling this movie Godzilla.
What?
We are calling this movie Zilla.
Why?
Because the movie does not deserve to be called Godzilla.
We are calling it Godzilla.
Zilla.
Godzilla.
Zilla.
Godzilla.
Zilla.
Goddamn Zilla.
Zilla.
Godzilla.
Zilla.
Godzilla.
Zilla.
Godzilla!
Zilla! This monster is not Godzilla, okay? Even the Toho, the company that owns Godzilla, completely changed the name to him and just called him Zilla. So, ha!
Okay, so the monster is called Zilla, but the movie is called Godzilla.
Gino.
Oh, I'm gonna regret asking this, but what the hell is Gino?
Gino, Godzilla in name only. You see, the fans and Toho hated this version of Godzilla so much that they decided to just call him Zilla, and the title of the movie is Godzilla in name only.
Okay, I'll meet you halfway here. We call the creature Zilla, but we call the movie Godzilla.
Okay, but in name only.
In name only. Godzilla was released in 1998 and was directed by Roland Emmerich.
So let's see how we fare against a movie so sucky that even Toho refused to call it by its real name.
The movie kicks off with...
Some bullshit!
I was hoping we could make it at least 2 more seconds into the movie before your G-nerd whinging begins.
I'm sorry, the biggest problem in the movie is right here. They fucked Godzilla up big time.
How? It's just some nuclear test footage and some iguanas.
Yes, iguanas. The Godzilla in this movie is a giant mutated iguana. This is not Godzilla.
Let's clear this up once and for all. What the hell is Godzilla? I mean, really, is he an alien, is he a prehistoric beast, or just the wishful thinking of D&D players?
Well, he's not an alien and he's not an iguana, so that means...
He's the result of some serious LSD? What is he then?
Right, well, in the actual Godzilla, apparently he is some sort of species of dinosaur. But he did have a name, I just can't think of it right now.
Which would be?
Godzillasaurus. His name was Godzillasaurus, okay?
Godzillasaurus! That sounds like something a child would come up with.
Shut up, there is only one Godzilla we're making fun of today, alright?
Oh my god, I just had a great idea. Sharknado versus the Godzillasaurus.
Shut up and start the movie now!
Okay, fine. But in the name of the Godzillasaurus.
Zilla starts her reign of pathetic terror by attacking a Japanese fishing ship.
And to the movie's credit, it is quite a short scene.
Why is that good?
Because it does an effective job at building up the creature. Kind of like what they did with the Kraken in Dead Man's Chest. We know that a ship this size is nothing to this creature, yet it does all this while showing virtually nothing.
Ha! The real Godzilla would have taken that down quicker, like in the 1985 movie.
Moving on, we see our main character, Nick Totopoulos. He likes singing and electrocuting worms.
He is played by Matthew fucking Broderick. I've had it with this guy. He sucks. Everything he touches is like shit, alright? Inspector Gadget, this movie, and everything else that he's done. Fucking sucks. And, of course, you know, he may have had a couple of good movies like, you know, like Ferris Bueller's Day Off and The Lion King, but he still fucking sucks.
Okay, so I'm guessing you're not a fan.
No, I give it away.
Your overly excessive ranting and rage with just that tiny hint of fairness. But never mind that, because we should move on, otherwise this is never going to end. While Nick is collecting his earthworms, he is picked up by the military and taken to investigate a series of footprints.
Footprints that are a fraction of what Godzilla footprints are really like.
Oh, would you just stop fixating on that? Can we just approach this as a movie in its own right and not as a Godzilla movie?
I make no promises. The footprints lead back to the washed-up ship Zilla attacked earlier.
And we meet Philippe Roach, played by Jean Reno.
He was already at the ship investigating the attack.
And he speaks to a survivor who identifies the attacker as
Godzilla. Godzilla.
But when the US military arrive, they tell him to piss off.
Then we cut to more fishing boats. I sense a pattern.
Yes, Zilla likes fish.
Yeah, and this time it's 3 fishing boats, so I guess you could say Zilla likes a lot of fish.
Putting your forced references aside and the fact that this scene is ripping off Jaws, it's actually not that bad of a scene.
I know, they are really building this monster up.
They try and figure out what this creature is.
And the worm enthusiast has a theory that the creature was affected by radiation and mutated into what it is now. Much like at the start of this movie where he explained that the worms he was studying have grown larger due to being exposed to low levels of radiation.
The film jumps to New York City where we see more characters. Audrey Timmons and Victor Pilati, nicknamed Animal, played by Mario Patello and Hank Azaria.
Why did they call him Animal?
I don't know, maybe he just shits in the woods or something, I don't know, fuck.
Possibly, but that's his business. Back to the movie.
The film shows us that Audrey used to date the worm guy.
That is a very unusual sentence. But who cares? We are about to see the monster that the movie has been building up for a whole 23 minutes.
Not exactly Jaws levels of build-up, is it?
Well, let's see what you got. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's a stand on special effects. You think that's bad? Guess what kind of budget this movie had?
Well, it can't be that much. Just look at that thing. It looks like it's from a B-movie.
$130
$1 million.
Seriously?
Seriously.
So you're telling me that they had a budget of $130 million and that's the best they could do? What the hell did they spend it all on?
That's how much they had to give Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert to be in this movie.
What?
Yeah, 2 of the most famous critics of all time get a fictional representation in this movie. We have Mayor Ebert and his assistant Gene, played by Michael Lerner and Laurie Goldman.
Why?
2 of the creators' earlier films, Stargate and Independence Day, got thumbs down by both of the critics, so Roland Emmerich decided to spoof them in his movie Godzilla. They even included a promotional image for Mayor Ebert's re-election campaign, with him giving a thumbs up, which has a nod to their famous thumbs up, thumbs down system.
Okay, but what was the point? Did Emmerich just want to get his own back or something?
I don't know, but even when Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert reviewed this movie, they were kind of surprised that Roland Emmerich didn't have them both squashed.
Okay, this movie's cameos make no sense whatsoever. Now where was we?
The pathetic CGI monster.
Ugh, what else happens?
When Zilla is running around New York City, Animal grabs his camera to get some footage.
And by sheer dumb luck, he survives the encounter. Okay, putting aside that this monster does look like shit, I do like that even now they are not showing the full creature, it's just part of its head, its feet, or its claws.
Yes, but we know the whole thing looks like a reject from Jurassic Park 3, so who cares?
So the creature has disappeared back into the water and everyone is wondering what to do.
So they evacuate the city, and while Mayor Ebert makes his way through the crowds, Philippe plants a bug on him.
They are listening in on a meeting between the mayor and the military about where this creature might be hiding.
So they go and check out one of the places, and they realize that because of the tunnel network, Zilla could be anywhere in the city.
It's kind of stupid that they are saying that he's using the tunnels to get around the city. I mean, look at the size of him! How big are these tunnels?
Well, when I had to catch earthworms, I knew that the best way to get them was not to dig them out, but to draw them out.
The worm guy then comes up with a plan.
The military sets up truckloads of fish and lays in wait for Zilla.
It's so natural! It's made of nightmares! Pixelated nightmares!
Even the fish look fake, especially when Godzilla's eating them.
So they open fire trying to kill the beast, but Zilla just runs away, leading to a thrilling chase.
In which the military shoots more of the city than the creature itself.
They like to get the landmarks.
We see more impressive effects in an old movie that's playing while some guys rob a TV store.
Only to get hit in the face by karma!
Remember, kids, crime doesn't pay. The law will catch up. I mean, a giant iguana will almost crush you to death. This is how I remember these adverts going.
Crime doesn't pay!
Fire!
They think they have Zilla dead to rights, but they all die.
Let's be honest here. The world is safer without them.
What the hell is the matter with you people? You've caused more damage than that goddamn thing did!
The worm guy picks up some blood samples the creature left behind and buys a pregnancy test to use on them. But just to make it sound more plausible that a regular pregnancy test would work on a creature like this, he throws some sciencey words in there.
Do you have any at-home pregnancy tests? Especially ones that look for gonadotropic hormones or clomiphene citrate?
Well, I don't know about you, but I think this scene actually saves the movie.
Sarcasm?
You bet.
Audrey reunites with her ex-wormy boyfriend and uses cunning niceness to steal classified video footage so she can get a promotion at the newspaper company she works at.
Yeah, and we find out that Zilla is asexual and pregnant, and the only reason Zilla is in New York is to nest.
Oh, I'm calling it now, bad CGI baby Zillas.
If only you were wrong. If only.
They discuss what their next move should be, and the worm guy says that the birth of more creatures is imminent, because the amount of fish Zilla has been going after suggests that he is collecting the fish for his younglings.
But then they witness the stolen footage and fire the worm guy for leaking classified material to the press.
Audrey apologises for stealing the footage, but he doesn't care, so he gets a taxi to the airport.
But the driver turns out to be Philippe Rich, who wants him to help him and his team find the nest so they can destroy it.
Their stake in destroying the creature is righting the wrongs that were done with the nuclear testing on French soil.
Animal followed him and tells Audrey that they are going after the nest.
So Animal and Audrey are going to go there as well, just so after they discover that the nest is real and stop the threat, they can let the world know that Nick was right all along.
They sneak past the military checkpoint into the quarantine zone. While they search the tunnels for the nest, they are being followed by Animal and Audrey.
You know, I wouldn't think that that was such a stupid nickname if I knew why it was his nickname. But anyway, the US military sets another trap for Zilla. Dear God, they are hitting more buildings with missiles than they did before!
Zilla jumps into the water to escape.
But they have submarines waiting for the creature and they launch torpedoes.
And eventually, after suffering some losses, they do hit their target.
Thus everyone thinks Godzilla is dead. And while the military celebrates their supposed success, Nick and the French have found the nest.
They start planting the charges, but the eggs start hatching.
And I thought the main monster looked bad. These look like raptors with mumps. These creatures seem way too active for only being born 2 seconds ago. It's more like they just woke up.
So the raptors, I mean Zilla babies.
They are raptors though. Pathetic CGI rip-off raptors. With mumps.
But meanwhile, the only person with any brains back in the US military says they should probably look for the nest.
But back at the nest, Philippe tells the worm guy to call the military to order in an airstrike, but he can't get through.
After a lot of running about, Nick and Philippe run into Animal and Audrey.
And since they are in Madison Square Garden, they figure that they can use the broadcasting room to get a message to the military.
They notice the broadcast and dispatch bombers, so now they only have less than 6 minutes to escape the building.
Come on, this way!
Not this way! Not that way!
I swear to God, half the time this feels like a Scooby-Doo movie.
Wrong floor.
Actually, that's another thing. The scene in which Nick almost gets killed in the lift bugs me. Because the Zilla baby is in the way of the doors, yet they keep closing. But all lift doors stop closing and open back up if something is obstructing them. So really, he should have died right there. But I guess that's nitpicking.
After clearing a path through to the exit, they escape the building, the military blows it up, and guess who shows up?
Yeah, who saw that coming?
Oh, not me. It was such a clever fake death.
So Zilla is really pissed off that they killed the Zilla Raptors, and is now chasing them down.
This chase sequence is at least better than the helicopter ones.
Yeah, probably because it's on ground level, so we get to see less of the creature.
And here's the only fucking time Zilla gets all close to a nuclear breath, and it wasn't even technically Zilla that created the fire.
I know, this creature sucks compared to the real Godzilla. But anyway, the military gets into contact with them via cab radio, and tells them to lure Godzilla to the Brooklyn Bridge.
Zilla manages to get them, but he lets go because they give him a toothache. A toothache! A fucking toothache! Zilla's a fucking pussy!
Calm down. It'll be okay. Just take a deep breath. Calm down.
I'm sorry. I hate Zilla so much.
Well, you will be glad to see him die then.
Yes, they managed to lure him into the bridge, and he gets caught in cables and shot to death by missiles. Which is another thing I hate. In the actual Godzilla movies, missiles are nothing to him. He swats planes out of the sky like flies. But here, Zilla can easily be killed by them. I know they were trying to make a more realistic take on Godzilla, but in this case, they just took the God out of Godzilla.
You know what? You're right. I completely agree with you. This version is such a letdown. I mean, really? A realistic take on Godzilla? Does that even remotely sound like a good idea? Godzilla is Godzilla for a reason, and that quite simply is, he is like a god on Earth. And if you take that away from him, he's just a giant dinosaur. He looks more like something from Jurassic Park than Godzilla.
I think that was part of the problem. They saw Jurassic Park, and what a huge success it was.
And I guess what they were thinking is, if Jurassic Park can make that much money, we should do the exact same thing with Godzilla.
But Godzilla is not Jurassic Park. It was never going to work. If you're going to make a Jurassic Park movie, fine, but just leave Godzilla out of it.
I agree, and the movie is almost over. After they kill it to death, they all have their happily ever after moments. But then, sequel bait.
Thank God there was never a sequel.
Wasn't there some animated show that came instead of a sequel?
Yes, the Godzilla series, which followed the characters in the movie and the Zilla baby that sequel baited its way to the end. And you know what? It was better than this. Godzilla actually fought other monsters. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't amazing, but anything's got to be better than this shit.
And for me, it fixed one of the major problems in this movie, which was the terrible CGI. Everything looks so much nicer in an animated art style. Because the design of Zilla wasn't bad in my opinion, it was just ruined by crappy CGI. But I think the monster, while not Godzilla, still looked cool. So it was nice to see a version not hampered by the bad effects. So all in all, how was this movie?
It was shit.
Oh come on, you must have found at least one redeeming quality. I know it's definitely not the leading character. He is the most two-dimensional and boring character I've ever seen.
Out of all of them, the best character had to be Philippe Roach, played by Jean Reno. He was half decent. If they had scrapped Broderick and made him the main character, I'd probably like it a lot more.
Yeah, when it comes to the humans in this movie, he definitely stole the show. But then he didn't have much competition. I mean, what else did we have? Stereotypical military guys, a third wheel, and lovers with so little chemistry, it made the new Superman and Lois Lane look like Romeo and Juliet.
Okay, you're right. The bar wasn't exactly high for this one.
So come on, we know what's crap about this movie. The effects, the characters, the story being amazingly simple. Godzilla wanted to breed. Really? And let's not forget about the moronic armed forces destroying more of the city than the creature itself.
You know, I kind of actually like those scenes where Godzilla's running away from the helicopters and then he tricks them and then he's all badass at the end of it. Kind of like those scenes, actually.
Really? You liked those scenes?
Yeah, it's the only time Zilla was ever being close to Godzilla, you know, smashing stuff and being badass.
I preferred it later in the movie when Zilla was consumed with rage and chasing them. I think it's because everything was shot on street level, which gave a better perspective of the monster. Because I've always had a problem when a movie introduces a giant creature and we always see it from the creature's height, which actually belittles the monster. So aside from the toothache and driving over Godzilla's foot, this was the best Zilla scene.
I suppose one other thing they did in this movie that actually worked was the buildup. I mean, it was no master of it like Jaws was, but for the majority of the scenes, all you see is a foot, or claws, or teeth. Those scenes are really well done. The other thing this movie did with build-up that was even better was the advertising. I mean, everywhere you go, you saw billboards for this movie. I mean, his foot is as long as this bus, or his hand is as big as his billboard or something. It was pretty hype, and it got us hyped up to go see it. Unfortunately.
So there we have it. This movie may have sucked on so many levels, but there is actually some redeeming qualities about it. But I think we can agree on one thing. The 2014 version is so much better.
So much better.
You have been watching Good or Bad, and this movie is doubly disappointing. It sucks as a Godzilla movie, and it sucks as a movie in its own right. See you next time.